I can still see his lunchbox, still zipped, still full, tucked carefully back into his backpack like he wanted me to think he ate, like he didn't want me to worry. That was the first crack in the glass. I finally asked gently, "Are you not hungry at school?" He shrugged, eyes on the floor. "It's okay. I like sitting by the wall during lunch." I said nothing, because I knew if I spoke I'd cry. The second was harder to name. It wasn't what he said, it was what he didn't. You learn to notice those things as a mother, not just the tears, but the absences. When a boy who hums while brushing his teeth suddenly stops. When he doesn't burst into the kitchen asking what's for snack. My son, Eli, is 11. He has my eyes and his father's quiet strength. Luke's overseas now, consulting work that pays well but keeps him away for months. He used to play professionally before Eli was born, but here in Ridgehaven, that life feels like someone else's story. No one knows, and I've never felt the need to tell them. Eli still waves at school staff, still lines up his shoes before bed, still leaves half his sandwich in the fridge just in case someone else is hungry. But ever since we moved to Ridgehaven, he's been fading. The kids have been calling him stick bug. They shove him when teachers aren't looking. We moved to Ridgehaven for peace, for quiet. But quiet isn't the same as kind. And here, assumptions are sharp. The moms at Ridgehaven Elementary see me pull up alone. They know I work in retail at a boutique downtown. They glance at my car and decide exactly what kind of life we must be living, then quietly left us out of things they decided we didn't deserve to be part of. She still works retail? Probably needs the job for the discount? They smile with their mouths but not their eyes. They don't say it to me. They say it for me to hear. Behind their smiles, I could hear it. The whispers, how did she afford to move into our neighborhood? The sideways glances when I walked into open house night alone. It wasn't just that I was new to the community, it was that I clearly didn't fit their mold. At pickup, I'd catch them, the wives in coordinated athleisure and fresh blowouts, scanning me from head to toe, taking inventory. My non-designer jeans against their high-end sets, my pulled-back ponytail against their salon waves, my sensible sedan against their gleaming SUVs. And they always noticed. Every time. So the moms turned their backs and put up their walls around me. No one ever said I wasn't welcome. They just made sure I never felt invited. I stood outside every circle, every fundraiser. Quick favor before we move on. Over 90% of people watching right now haven't subscribed yet. If you're enjoying this story, tap that like button and hit subscribe. It's completely free, and it helps this channel reach more amazing listeners like you. Already subscribed? You're the best. Thank you so much. Now, let's get back to it. During one of the first pickups, I heard Mason and Miles' mom talking loudly about the big birthday party she was throwing for her boys during the championship game on Sunday. We almost invited the entire class, but not everyone would fit in. She looked right at me, then quickly turned to whisper something to another mom. That mom tried not to look at me, but I caught her eyes darting my way. Then both moms nodded. I knew exactly what had just happened. They weren't planning to invite us, and they wanted me to know it. Eli felt it too. He'd watched the other boys from the passenger seat, eyes hopeful, shoulders tense, always asking, "Do you think they'll invite me to their playdate next time?" I'd say, "Maybe, sweetheart," but we both knew. I still remember the day he came home from school with grass stains on his knees. He said the boys were playing football, that they told him he could help. Just with the water bottles, not the real game. They handed him chores, refused to let him throw passes, and when he asked what position he could play, one of them said, "Water boy." "You wouldn't get the real positions, you're too small." He didn't cry that day. He just stared out the window and said, "I think I'm only invited when they need someone to carry stuff." That night, I found him curled up on his bed, holding onto a comic book he wasn't reading. The worst part happened the day before the championship game birthday party, when Eli came home quiet, his lips pressed into a thin line, like if he said anything, he might cry. Later, when I pressed gently, he told me everything. They'd been whispering about it all day. Mason and Miles had a pool. They had picked out the team jerseys. One boy said his mom ordered championship-themed cupcakes with team logos. Eli, trying to belong, had smiled and said he loved football too, that he knew all the players by heart, even the ones from before he was born. They all looked at him. Then Mason said, loud enough for the others to hear, "Oh, the invite is full." Miles giggled. "That's awkward." Another boy mumbled something about limited jerseys. Eli asked if maybe someone canceled. Maybe he can come instead. Mason turned to him and said, "It's not really for people who don't have team gear. You can't even join if you don't have the right jersey." And just like that, they turned away and laughed. One boy even leaned over and whispered, "He seems desperate." They didn't even try to hide it. That night, after he told me what happened, he didn't cry. He just climbed into his blanket fort in the living room, curled up in silence, and asked if we could make something. He picked cookies because they reminded him of his father since we always baked them when he got home. We decorated them with team colors and pressed chocolate chips into each one, slow and careful, like he was making something sacred. "Can we put a few in a Ziploc bag?" he asked, not looking up, "just in case someone at school wants one." My heart cracked, slow and quiet. The next morning, he packed 2 cookies in his lunchbox, even though I told him not to expect anything. "It's okay," he said too brightly. "It's just in case. You never know." I watched him walk into school with them, proud and hopeful. At lunch that Friday, Eli walked up to Bryce with one of our homemade cookies wrapped in a napkin. "I saved this for you," he said quietly. Bryce took it, looked at his friends, then dropped it in the trash without breaking eye contact. "Thanks, but I already ate," the other boy snickered. When he came out that afternoon, the bag was still full, untouched. He didn't say a word, just held it out to me without looking, like it was trash. I opened it later. The chocolate had smeared slightly. One of the cookies was broken, like someone had stepped on the bag. There was a note on the bag scrawled in black pen, "Dog treats." I sat on the floor and sobbed after he went to bed. Quiet, heaving sobs that wouldn't stop, the kind that comes from deep down, where rage and shame mix and turn into something too big for your ribs. A few days later, Eli told me he'd mentioned to the boys that he had a foosball table at home and that they could come over and play. They laughed and said, "We have better things to do." "I thought maybe they'd want to be my friend if they knew about my cool stuff," he whispered. I just nodded and kissed his forehead. When he walked past me without a word and shut his door, I knew something had happened. Later that night, I found out the boys told their moms about it. And those moms, the same ones who talk about inclusion during PTA meetings, mocked it in their group chat. I found out through Eli's friend Marcus. His mom Jennifer had shown me, horrified. "I thought you should know what they're saying," she whispered, handing me her phone. The Ridge Haven mom group chat. Their words, their crying laugh emojis, their casual cruelty. One of them had written, "Eli's mom must have told him to bring cookies to buy their likes," followed by a crying laugh emoji. Another wrote, "Haha, how desperate can you be? Once you see something like that, you can't unsee it." That was the moment something snapped in me, not out of anger, but out of grief. I realized they didn't just exclude him, they erased him, and they were laughing about it. I should have marched right up to those moms and told them exactly who my husband was. Should have put them in their place right then and there. But you can't make people like you. You can't force them to be nice. And part of me thought, if I just keep being polite, if I just don't cause trouble, they'll eventually accept us. I was wrong. The next week, all anyone could talk about was Mason and Miles's championship birthday party. Eli came home tossing a football in the air, catching it over and over. He told me Tom Brady once threw 30 touchdowns in a season, that he practiced every single day, that he never gave up even when people said he wasn't good enough. Maybe if I know more about football, they'll want to hang out with me, he said one night. I wanted to hug him and cry at the same time. Instead, I just said, "You don't have to prove anything to make friends, baby." But I knew what he was doing. He was trying to become the kind of kid they couldn't ignore. The next morning, I watched him carefully fold a handwritten list of player stats into his backpack. Later, his PE teacher, Coach Martinez, stops me in the hallway. "Eli's essay about teamwork made me tear up," he says quietly. "That kid has something special. It's the first time in months someone has seen my son for who he really is. The warmth of it almost breaks me, but I hold it close, a small light in the darkness." On Friday, I picked him up a little early. He didn't see me at first. I watched him walk down the hallway, backpack swinging, eyes scanning the lockers for something or someone, that little hopeful bounce in his step. Then I saw it, Mason and the boys, huddled by the water fountain. Miles held up a box of championship game party supplies and shouted, "My dad got real foam fingers." Eli stopped, stepped a little closer and smiled. Then he asked, gentle and hopeful, "Is it on Sunday during the championship game?" The boys turned slowly. Mason raised his eyebrows and said, "Wait, you still think you're invited?" Another boy laughed. "Oh, heck no, I thought he would have gotten the hint by now." Miles leaned in, voice low and cruel. "It's not for everyone. Some people don't belong in our group." Then Mason added, "You kind of need team gear to be part of the party. We're wearing jerseys. You can't really join if you don't even have one." They had no idea Eli's closet was full of jerseys. He just chose to save them for special times with his dad. Now, I wonder if I should have told him to wear them to school. Eli stood still. No tears, just silence. Then one of them mumbled, not even trying to whisper, "It's kind of weird he still doesn't get it." They all burst into quiet laughter. And then Mason, like he was offering a consolation prize, said, "You can still wear team colors on Monday, though. We're doing Spirit Day." Like it was charity. Like they were doing him a favor. That night, I couldn't sleep. I paced the kitchen, reread old texts, scrolled through Ridgehaven Dad Facebook groups filled with men who coordinated fantasy leagues for charity events and posted daily reminders about Sportsmanship Month. The hypocrisy made me want to scream. And then I saw it, an Instagram story from Mason's mom. It was a boomerang of team-colored gift bags on a granite counter. Caption, "Only the best boys for the best watch party?" I nearly dropped my phone. They weren't even trying to hide it anymore. That Saturday night, I found Eli on his tablet scrolling through Mason's mom's Instagram stories. Pool decorations, team-colored everything, boys laughing in matching jerseys. He watched it twice before I gently closed the screen. "It looks fun," he whispered. That's when something in me shifted. Not anger, not yet, but resolve. If they were going to show my son what it felt like to be erased, I was going to show him what it meant to be seen. I picked up the phone and called my husband. Luke answered on the second ring. "Hey, beautiful, what's wrong?" I told him everything. The exclusion, the party, the way they looked at our son like he was a disease. "I'm coming home," he said without hesitation. "Tomorrow morning." "Luke, you don't have to." "I'm already booking the flight." 3 hours later, he called back. "I made some calls. We've got VIP box seats, players section. Eli's going to meet some old friends of mine." I nearly cried. "Who?" "You'll see." Sunday morning arrives with Eli already awake when I pass by his room. Fully dressed, sitting at the edge of his bed in his oldest jeans and a plain gray hoodie. His little football figurines are lined up on the windowsill like they're watching the weather. I pause in the hallway. He's quiet. Too quiet. I almost ask if he's okay, but before I can, there's a sound from the front door. The jingle of keys. The familiar rhythm of heavy boots on tile. "Dad." Eli bolts down the hallway before I can say a word. And there he is, Luke, broad-shouldered, travel-worn, and smiling. He catches Eli in a hug so tight I hear the breath leave my son's chest. "You came back," Eli whispers, voice cracking. "Wouldn't miss today for anything, buddy," Luke says. "Got something for you." He reaches into his duffel bag and pulls out a jersey. It's navy blue, signed, with bold white lettering across the back. Bellamy. Eli's mouth falls open. "Is this—" "It's yours," Luke says. "And we've got seats today. Not just seats. VIP box. You, me, and Mom. Whole squad." Meanwhile, across Ridgehaven, Mason's backyard transforms into Game Day Central. The projector screen stretches across the pool deck, surrounded by team-colored balloons and catered platters. The boys arrive first, wearing face paint, foam fingers, and matching jerseys. The living room becomes a mini stadium, snacks stacked to the ceiling, surround sound blaring with pre-game analysis. The moms sip wine from team-colored cups. The dads debate fantasy picks and draft strategies. Caroline floats between them, camera ready and controlling every angle. The projector is tuned to pre-game commentary. Eli's name is not mentioned. He's not expected. They think they know who belongs. They think they know who doesn't. At the stadium, Eli's knees bounce in the car as we pull into the VIP parking garage. The entrance is quieter, cleaner, greeted by ushers in team blazers and discreet security checkpoints. When we step into the suite, Eli goes completely still. It's nothing like a backyard party. The windows stretch floor to ceiling. The leather seats recline. There's a personal attendant offering team-branded snacks and sliders. Championship memorabilia lines the walls like art, and at the center of it all, standing casually near the glass, are players. Real ones, Hall of Famers, Super Bowl winners. Luke knows them all by name, and they know him. "Bellamy," one of them shouts, walking over. "Man, where have you been hiding?" They clap backs, laugh loudly, trade inside jokes. Then one of them turns to Eli. "This Eli?" Luke nods and lifts Eli onto his shoulders like he used to when Eli was 5. Another player ruffles Eli's hair. "Look at this guy, already got the Bellamy build." Eli beams. It's not the smile I'm used to, the careful one. It's full, bright, effortless, like he's finally being seen. Back in Ridgehaven, the party is in full swing. Mason has claimed the front center pool chair. The boys huddle around, practically bouncing with excitement as they shout over each other about which team will win, comparing matching jerseys and juggling chip bowls and soda cans. The moms cluster around the outdoor kitchen island, refilling snack platters and sipping wine from team-colored cups. Their conversation a mix of party planning pride and gentle gossip. The dads have formed their own circle around the massive outdoor TV screen, beers in hand, already debating play calls and draft picks as the pregame show begins. Caroline floats between all the groups, phone in hand, capturing every perfectly coordinated moment for her social media. Then at 3 p.m., the screen flickers as the live broadcast begins. The boys erupt in cheers, throwing their foam fingers in the air and chanting their team's fight song. Even the parents go quiet, gathering closer to the screen as the stadium comes alive on camera. The camera pans across the field, showing the massive stadium packed with screaming fans, then cuts to shots of famous players warming up on the sidelines, their names flashing across the bottom of the screen. The announcers talk excitedly about legendary quarterbacks and Hall of Fame linebackers attending as special guests. And now a special welcome to our VIP suite. Look who's in the box tonight. The backyard hushes. The camera cuts to a high-angle shot of the stadium, then zooms in. That's right, former All-Pro linebacker Luke Bellamy joins us after nearly a decade away from the spotlight. And then, there he is, Luke. Broad-shouldered and commanding among the other players, every inch the athlete he once was. Smiling, and Eli perched on his shoulders like a prince. The party freezes. One of the Ridgehaven dads leans forward, squinting. "Hey, is that—" Another gasps. "No way, that's Luke Bellamy." From the championship team? Wait, what? But the real silence comes next, because now Eli is grinning and another NFL player places something in his hands. A championship ring. The camera zooms. The boys recognize him now, the quiet kid. Mason squints at the screen, mouth open. What the? Then Luke wraps an arm around my shoulder and pulls me into frame. I'm wearing the boutique dress no one thought I could afford. The one I bought months ago and never had a reason to wear. The camera lingers. Long enough. Long enough for every Ridgehaven mom to recognize me. One of them leans forward, whispering like it hurts. That's her, Grace whispers. That's Eli's mom. Caroline's mouth is still, her wine glass trembles just slightly in her hand. Jenna puts a hand over her chest. Miles blurts out, "Wait, what's Eli doing there? No way, that's Luke Bellamy." From the championship team? Wait, what? But the real silence comes next. Because now Eli is grinning, and another NFL player places something in his hands. A championship ring. The camera zooms. The boys recognize him now, the quiet kid. Eli. Mason squints at the screen, mouth open. What the? Then Luke wraps an arm around my shoulder and pulls me into frame. I'm wearing the boutique dress no one thought I could afford. The one I bought months ago and never had a reason to wear. The camera lingers. Long enough. Long enough for every Ridgehaven mom to recognize me. One of them leans forward, whispering like it hurts. That's her, Grace whispers. That's Eli's mom. Caroline's mouth is still. Her wine glass trembles just slightly in her hand. Jenna puts a hand over her chest. Miles blurts out, "Wait, what's Eli doing there?" And that's when it hits them. The lunchbox, the cookies, the silence. They didn't just miss the story, they ignored it. In the suite, Eli doesn't see any of it. He's too busy laughing at a joke one of the players made. Too busy holding the championship ring like it's a crown. Too busy living the moment he almost convinced himself he didn't deserve. I place a hand on Luke's arm. He looks at me, then at Eli. "We should have done this sooner," he whispers. "Maybe," I say. But today is enough. Luke kisses my temple, and below us a stadium roars. By Monday morning, my phone starts buzzing and doesn't stop. Moms I barely know are suddenly texting me like we're old friends. "Hey, Sophia. Random Q, has Eli picked his friends yet for any play dates? Just asking in case he wanted to reconnect with some of the boys. It was so cool to watch him on TV. My son said he wants to come over for a play date with Eli. If you ever want to grab coffee sometime. I just realized we've never really gotten to know each other. Let's change that." They're scrambling, clutching for connection now that it's clear they missed something important. They thought I was just a desperate mom with a humble car and a son who didn't belong. They didn't know I was married to a sports legend, didn't know my husband still made millions consulting overseas, didn't know I'd chosen to blend in, for Eli's sake, because I wanted my son to grow up loved, not used. But now the veil has dropped, and they're trying to catch up. That evening, Eli is quiet. He plays with the championship ring Luke let him keep, tracing the gold like it's magic. I sit beside him, folding laundry. "You don't have to be friends with anyone out of guilt," I say gently. He shrugs. "I'm not." He already made his choices for his next playdates, 2 names. One is Marcus, a quiet boy who always saves him a seat on the bus and once shared his lunch when Eli forgot his. The other is David from the after-school chess club, the only person who noticed when Eli's football cards disappeared from his locker and left him new ones with a note. "Some people suck, but not you." Neither of them was at the watch party. By Wednesday, the fallout spreads. The party photos are gone from the school bulletin board, and so is the group selfie that once sat on Mason's locker. Later, someone taped a photo of Eli with the NFL players beside where Mason's party flyer used to be. No caption, just the image. Wordless. Perfect. Someone starts an anonymous Reddit thread. Mean sports moms got humbled. It goes viral locally. At lunch, someone asked Eli how it felt to have a former NFL player as a dad. He shrugged and smiled, then said just loud enough, "My dad doesn't post about winning. He just plays the game." And just like that, another poster went up in the hallway. A photo of Eli and Luke. No caption, just the image. On Thursday, Mason's mom corners me in the school parking lot, her tone sugary. "Sophia, I just want to say, I had no idea how much that party stuff hurt Eli. We would never intentionally leave anyone out." I meet her eyes, let her speak. Then I say, "I know you didn't think he mattered. That's the part that hurt." She falters, eyes dart. "If Eli and your husband Luke ever wants to stop by for a game night, the boys would love to see them both." I nod politely. "They're busy with an NFL event. Maybe next weekend, maybe next season." Then I get in my car and drive off. They used to say he was too quiet, too soft, too much like me. They didn't see the strength in his silence, the courage in how he waited, always hoping, never asking. They do now. The week after the game, a photo appeared in the local sports section, not of the party, not of the fancy decorations or catered food, just a picture of Eli walking down a hallway, arms wrapped around Marcus and David's shoulders, laughing. No staging, no filters, just sunlight and friendship. The caption? "Sometimes the best team isn't the one you expect." As for me, I haven't changed much. Same car, same grocery store. But when I walk into parent events now, people see me. They see him. Caroline catches my eye at the next PTA meeting, her gaze lingering in a way it never did before, puzzled, almost searching. She studies my face like she's trying to solve a riddle, her head tilted slightly, lips parted as if she wants to say something but can't find the words. There's something almost reverent in how she watches me move through the room, like she's seeing a completely different person and can't reconcile this version with the woman she dismissed so easily. The other moms follow her lead, their expressions shifting from the polite distance I'd grown used to something closer to curiosity. Maybe even respect. They whisper among themselves, stealing glances, trying to piece together how they got it so wrong. And they know. Some people build their power quietly, with grace, with patience, with sons who outshine the rooms they were once left out of. Because sometimes the most radical thing a woman can do is raise a child the world forgot to welcome and make sure he never forgets his own worth. We didn't get invited to the watch party. We got the box. The world saw Eli, and Eli, he saw himself.